Hello and welcome to episode 179 of the Perth to Paisley podcast, a podcast dedicated to Heart of Midlothian Football Club, who soared back up to 11th place out of 12 teams in the Scottish Premiership table. Joining me, Adam Kennedy, to discuss the Jambos matches against Kilmarnock at Tynecastle and St Johnstone at McDermott Park is Daniel McIver. Mr. McIver, how are you?
I'm doing well. We're recording this on the 5th of November, and I stay in Pilton, so I'm used to hearing explosive noises around me at all times of the year, but especially it's happening tonight. So it genuinely sounds like World War III starting out there the night before the presidential election. That's a good foreboding sign. Just to let anybody know, that's what the noises are if you can hear anything. I'm going to try and affect my audio and make sure that it doesn't get picked up. I have no idea if it will, but to me, it sounds like it will because it sounds like I'm being in an air raid or something like that. But apart from that, apart from fearing for my life, I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, that's great. I didn't realize that the People's Republic of Pilton were showing such discontent at Donald Trump being the favorite to regain presidency.
Yep,
But I'm glad that the people of Pilton are into their politics.
yep, definitely.
Um, yeah, all right, I guess. Last episode we had two matches to look forward to, one in midweek and the game at the weekend. That's not really the feeling this week, this episode. But yeah, all right. Disappointed with defeat, but then made up with a victory, and that's just the bipolar nature of being a Hearts fan. It's an absolute roller coaster, and a ride that we're certainly not getting off just yet. Really, really don't want to talk about this midweek match. Really.
We'll just hit the goals, and that's all we'll say. It's fine because I could then summarise at
No,
the end.
we'll delay about chatting about Kilmarnock's really annoyingly good record in
Yeah.
Gorgie as we go around the grounds. Elsewhere on Wednesday, the 30th of October, the night before Halloween. Thank God that's over. Can't wait for
No.
Guy Fawkes night to be over. I hate
Best
this
time of
time
the
of
year's
year. Just,
gone.
oh, I hate it. Celtic beat Dundee 2-0 at Celtic Park as the D's wait for a win over the hoops, which stretches back to 2001, continues.
Wow.
Did you know that?
No,
23 years Dundee have waited to beat Celtic, and it was at Celtic Park the last time.
that's
You need to go
crazy.
back to the 90s or even the 80s for them to beat Celtic in Dundee. Absolutely crazy. Um, Dundee United won, Motherwell 2. Great win for Motherwell as they look to reinstate some confidence ahead of their Scottish League Cup semi-final against Rangers at Hampden. More on that later. The shares were spoiled in the Highlands as neither the Staggies nor Hibs could break the deadlock in Dingwall as it finished Ross County nil, Hibernian nil. A huge win for the Buddies as St Mirren came out on top in the Battle of the Saints against St Johnstone. 3-1 in Paisley, dare I say it, but were St Mirren actually trying to do us a favour ahead of
Yeah.
our weekend game? It would be a first. And the blockbuster event, the match in front of the Sky cameras, saw tied table-topping Aberdeen move 9 points clear of Rangers as they defeated the Gers 2-1 at Pittodrie, with pressure continuing to pile on Philippe Clement. What did you make of the other quintet of fixtures last midweek, Mr. McIver?
I was mainly focused on St Mirren, St Johnston because I was
It's
like,
bad the levels that we've stooped to in it.
yeah,
It
it was
really
like,
is.
oh, okay, these are the folk we're concerning ourselves with. But yeah, normally teams that we're about to play always get a win. So it was quite a nice change to see St Johnston get beat. I was like, fair play. Hate
Come
that.
8:30, it was looking great if you were looking at
Oh,
the Premiership table.
we were like
Life was good.
ninth at one point, which is a testament to something I'll get to at the end of this podcast about how
Yeah,
we are going to
without
be
a doubt.
fine this season, regardless of
Yeah.
failures. But oh, this league isn't very good. And that was then quickly quelled by the double hit that we will speak about midweek. But it was good, I felt, for St Mirren to get a win. Hibs just continues to be as bad as us, basically.
Somehow
Um,
even worse.
yeah, I mean, literally even worse. I was about to say, oh, yeah, you can make arguments. No, no, statistically, even worse than us, somehow. And that's funny. Haha. That's very funny. Please keep David Gray in for as long as you possibly can, please.
Do you think
Um,
he will get the boot soon?
yeah, I think he'll get sacked at the weekend if they don't win.
Do you?
I thought he'd be sacked by now if they didn't beat United, and then they just didn't, and everything's still the same. I've seen all the rumours, by
Interesting.
the way, that the Kensal family are fully sold to the Black Knights and all that kind of patter. So I've no
Who
idea
have they
how
got the
true that
weekend? St
is.
Mirren at Easter Road on Saturday.
They should win that, considering how bad St Mirren are. But I think if
Interesting.
they do,
Maybe St Mirren will do us another favour and get
go
beat.
on St Mirren.
Keep him in the job.
Yep, come on St Mirren. Um, yeah, as I say, I saw all the rumours today that it's like the Kensals are done and they've sold to the Black Knights and all that kind of
Is it the
patter. But
Kensals or the Gordons? Is it not
sorry,
still the
the
Gordons?
Gordons, not the Kensals. Ben
Yeah.
Kensel's just kicking about there. He doesn't have actual proper ties. Sorry, the Gordon family have sold to the Black Knights, but we'll
Who are
see
we
what
kidding?
happens
It'll
with
be their
that.
sporting director that gets the gig.
Yes, it will be, and I cannot wait. It's like this is what you reap what you sow, Hibs. You reap what you
Oh,
sow.
that you do.
Um, who cares about Celtic? Dundee United. I don't know what I can't work out if Dundee United are good or not.
Neither can I. They're the perfect barometer for this league. Their league position probably echoes it because they sat
Yeah,
fifth. And again, you think we get a
I've
wee
no
run
idea how good
together.
they are.
We
Yeah.
can, we can definitely close that gap. It's just
Um,
annoying that we lost to them at Tynecastle earlier on in the season.
yeah, exactly. Stephen Naismith.
But,
Um, and then the kind of big talking point was obviously Aberdeen Rangers, where it was just like, oh, they just keep winning. I mean, that changed at the weekend, but in the
oh,
league,
that certainly did.
yeah, in the league, at this point, they were just the bubble hadn't burst yet.
I
The
certainly
bubbles,
hope it has now.
the bubble might be bursting. It will be interesting to see how they respond. But I, when I
They'll
was
beat Dundee on
leaving,
Saturday, though, I
yeah,
think.
yeah, they've got a very easy game. When I was leaving Tynecastle on Wednesday night, I was angry. I was saying to you and saying to other folk, it's the angriest I've been leaving Tynecastle in years, and I was really surprised at it. I was really surprised at how genuinely furious I was leaving that game.
I mean, I don't kind of want to skip over what we're about to talk about, but could you give us a quick summation as to why?
Yeah, basically, because we all know what happened. It was just that I thought we were all right the first 55 minutes. First 55 minutes, solid as houses, had scored, doing well. We genuinely didn't look threatened at all. And then, like,
But there's always that chance
yeah,
at 1-0.
yeah, and when it's Kilmarnock at Tynecastle, especially. But it just felt like they were like two of the most avoidable goals ever in a 5 minute spell. And we then just went, ah, well, we've lost. And it's like, there's still 35 minutes left. What are you
Yeah, there's
doing?
bags of time.
And just like offered nothing. It very much was also vindication for me being like, oh, this is the manager that Hearts fans wanted us to get in, is it? That apparently
I did think of you, I can't lie.
everyone will accept this for the results it'll bring. Fucking will we? Will Hearts fans accept this on show? Right, I see. And just I was walking along the
His
road.
record at Tynecastle's not good, Derek McInnes, either.
No, it's
That's
not. It's not even like there's no positives to him at all. And just I was so angry because it was like it's entirely self-inflicted. There was
he's going
nothing
to get the
about that
Rangers job
game.
anyway, so it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
that's very true. There's nothing. There was nothing about that loss that was based around the opposition being good in any way. It was just us being terrible after being solid for like an hour. But thankfully, it was all rectified at the weekend. So let's focus on that.
Well, well, we can't just skip ahead to the
I
weekend.
was
We are.
planning on just skipping.
I
Sorry,
know.
Alan Forrest. You're not. We're not speaking about you at all.
If we speak about the Kilmarnock match, Neil Critchley made two changes from the Edinburgh Derby draw. Adam Forrester replaced Daniel Oyegoki at right back, and Alan Forrest, who you mentioned just there, came in for Jan Danda on the left-hand side. That meant that Hearts lined up in a 4-4-2 formation as follows. Craig Gordon goal, back four of Adam Forrester, Frankie Kent, Kai Rolls, and Luke Penrice.
Yes.
Midfield quartet of Blair Spittle, Gary Devlin, Malachi Boateng, and Alan Forrest, with Kenneth Vargas and Lauren Shankland in attack. What did you think the starting 11 when you saw it?
I'd like an explanation as to why we can't play one right back for a game. Why do we keep changing them within the hour? I think they all just play an hour. Well, both of them. I think they just get like an hour each. Like somebody starts, gets subbed off in the 60th minute. They come on for the last half an hour. Then that person starts the next game and does it, and it's just like a cycle. How unfit are they? Like, just put like, and I don't think either of them have ever looked unfit or tired. I understand Forrester is like it's a young player, but it's like then just play Oyegoki loads and play Forrester every so often. Oyegoki doesn't look tired so
No,
far.
I do think he's prone to a mistake or two, though, Daniel Ugoki. I'm
I
not
think
I'm not I'm
Forrester
not
is as a
sure.
youth player as well.
Of course he is, but at least Daniel Ugoki's been around a wee bit. He's had a couple loan spells. I don't know. I think that it's a formation that Neil Critchley's not. I don't think he's identified his starter just yet,
That's
if I'm
fair.
honest. I think it's up for debate, and that's the reason why he's trying and testing both players in different games. Because let's be honest, the rest of the back four obviously picks itself. Midfield, I think that barring one alteration here, that's pretty much should be the starting four in midfield. And even up front, are you going to go anybody besides Vargas and Shankland? I,
Yeah.
I, I was really disappointed that James Wilson didn't get a chance here. I was discussing it with my pal Ewan that I go to the games with, and he said, up against the Derek McInnes team, is that really your audition at Tynecastle? Is that the time to throw him in?
Nah.
And then I then had a wee think and thought, yeah, you might be right, but
He also
I don't
came
know.
on for half an hour and had two touches of the ball in half an hour
But is that
because
necessarily that's not his
I
fault
don't
though?
blame him at all.
No.
I just mean in terms of like we were shelling balls up and the average height of the Kiwi defence
Well,
is
that
8 foot
exactly,
2.
and that is of no use to
Yeah,
anybody
like what's he meant to do with
when
that?
you've got literally giants galore in that Killy
Yeah.
back four.
But
Um,
yeah, I was just kind of like, oh, there's no Benny still. That's bad.
yeah, my heart genuinely it sinks when I don't see that man's name in either the starting 11 or on the bench.
We have to. The problem is though, is we have to get used to it because he cannot stay fit for any period of time.
No, he can't. But and then I start to think, is
I
he
know he
of
was
more
sick, by the
value?
way. This wasn't like an
Yeah,
injury. He was sick.
I then think is he of more value over 20 games than any of our other midfielders over the course of a season?
Probably. But the problem is that the season isn't played over 20 games. It's played over like
Exactly. So,
40.
like, yeah, again, I'd be contradicting myself and saying the best ability is availability, but see, but it's
He's
just
so
such.
clearly our best
Oh,
midfielder.
it's just it's night and day,
I mean,
night
in
and day.
fairness, Neuenhoff's probably sat there being like, I
When the
was.
hell's he coming back?
Well, but this is the thing that I've never really understood. In September, we were told Neuenhoff will come back in November. And I don't understand why people have just stopped remembering that. Where people like all last month have been like, we were told to be back in a couple of weeks. I was like, no, we haven't. We were told to be back in November. And now it's November. So he'll be back there. And it was like, Critchley was like, oh yeah, he's running on grass and he's full training. I'm like, so this sounds like he's fully in. I mean, there was the setback that he had where it was like he had surgery, they fixed it, but then they realized they didn't fix it and had to go back in. But that's when we then were told it was like, yeah, it won't be until after the. I thought it was said that it was after the third international break, which is like coming up now in November.
Yeah, I tell you what, looking at our fixtures, when the hell do you bring him back in?
Oh, I
The
know.
Aberdeen
He's
game at
fucked. Like,
Tynecastle,
yeah,
maybe?
yeah, it's a shame for him.
Brutal. Um, but in terms of this game, I actually thought we started quite brightly. There was a quick counter attack after a minute. Spittle, Forrest, Shankland, Vargas all involved. Before, of course, the Costa Rican sends a tame effort into the gloves of Robbie McCrory. 8 minutes, a decent opportunity eventually arises. Vargas's cutback is behind Lauren Shankland, but Blair Spittle makes his way inside before looking to bend one into the bottom corner. It does take a nick on its way towards goal. I thought it was off a defender. Then you actually see that it's a great save from the Kelly keeper. He sort of occupied that similar area as to where he scored his Ammonia Nicosia goal from, but albeit doesn't doesn't opt to bend it high into the corner. Instead, a wee low drive, but a decent save from Robin McCrory.
I will be completely honest, I can't remember a single thing about this game apart from the three goals.
Okay, mate,
But what I
that's
wanted
fine.
to say was you mentioned there, I I mean it's kind of a point that is throughout the last two games of football. But part of the reason I was so angry leaving the game is I don't know what we do with Lawrence Shankland. Because even
Oof.
last season, right? Even last season when Shankland was in that spell where he wasn't scoring, I was looking at him going, but look, he's bringing others into play. He's linking up well. He's winning balls in the air. It's just not falling for him yet. Whereas now I'm looking at him going, he can't trap a ball. He can't pass a ball. He can't hold it up. He's winning nothing in the air. And I'm just like, he clearly needs time out the team for his own confidence. But we have no
Sanity.
one because of Stephen Naismith. And yeah, Wednesday night was kind of my night where I went, I've given Naismith too much leeway with a lot of stuff where I've kind of been like, oh yeah, the bad stuff was bad, but the good stuff was good. I'm like, you have killed the season by not signing another striker and letting Tagawa go and not replacing him.
I uh, I agree with that. I can't believe that Lauren Shankland has been called up to the Scotland squad. How starved of
That's mad.
choices are we as a
I
nation
didn't even know
that
that.
he's made it? Like,
Really? Wow.
how? Does Steve Clark and his staff watch professional football?
Steve Clark doesn't even like him. Steve Clark's arguably at fault for this because he didn't start him when he was in the best form of his life at the Euros.
And now he's been absolutely honking, and yet he's probably going to start. I genuinely because
I've
like who
no
else
idea.
does?
I've no
I,
idea what's going on.
I agree with you, and I was having this conversation in a group chat with Hearts fans. We'll get on to his goal later on. Let me make this very clear because I knew that this would get misconstrued, and boy, did it get misconstrued. I said I would like Hearts to sign somebody of a similar profile to Kyle Vassell. I'm not asking Hearts to go
Oh,
out and
okay.
sign Kyle Vassell. I'm asking us to look for a target man type, a big boy, a bully, because we've not had one since Stephen Humphreys left the club. He gave something different in the final third. I'd even argue Ellis Sims before that,
Well,
who
I was going to say, I'd
Neil
prefer an
Critchley has
Ellis
worked.
Sims than a Kyle Vassell. A big guy, but who's fast as
Right,
well.
exactly. But a powerful unit is my point.
Yeah.
Neil Critchley identified him at Blackpool, so that gives me confidence that he's maybe got somebody else that
Did
can
people give you
be of
shit
use in
for
January.
thinking you wanted to sign Kyle
I do
Vassell?
not want Kyle Vassell.
He
He
does.
last
He
scored
does. He does.
against Hearts in August. I'm not. I'm no.
He
Why?
does. He does.
Why do people take like? How literal are you to take what I say to heart? Someone like him, not necessarily him.
Well, Kyle Vassell, keep your phone handy because it's happening, mate, in January. We need you.
Oh, dear God. Speaking of Kyle Vassell, Kilmarnock worked the ball out wide to Danny Armstrong on the right-hand side on 17 minutes. He looks to kill the ball dead with his first touch, sends a lovely weighted pass through with his left foot as his second touch, and Kyle Vassell, of all people, looks to latch onto it. Kelly's club captain flicks it past the onrushing Craig Gordon, but thankfully, Kai Rolls gets back to punt the ball clear of danger, and Hearts eventually regroup. I was really worried. I genuinely thought this. I've no idea why Gordon comes. Does he need to come? I just
Oh, I
thought it was
remember
like,
this. You saying
yeah.
that? Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is it? What are they doing,
I was going to say
CG?
you have to remember this because my heart was in my arse.
I just remember being like, either, he didn't commit either way. Either
No,
stand
so
and be
weird.
like, right, you have to make a decision now, either shoot or chip or run at me, or just be like, I've made the decision for you. I'm rushing this. But he kind of goes, I'm rushing this, sees Vassell's big, and then just goes, oh no, wait, fuck
Whoa!
that. I'm not
The
dealing with that.
handbrakes all of a sudden
Yeah.
applied. It's like whoa!
I do remember that because obviously it was in front of me. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
exactly
do
on your
remember
side.
that. Yeah.
I like. Sorry, what the hell's happening here?
I still maintain that Craig Gordon, due to his age, is now doing those things in FM with the hidden achievements where you have to do certain things to get achievement. I think he's just been like, fuck this. Final couple of seasons, I'm just going to get all these wee accolades and stuff, and we'll
European
never know what
record,
he was meant to
tick,
do.
another trophy,
Yep.
maybe,
And
question
listen,
mark on that.
a lovely thing. It looks like Craig Gordon's 300th, I think, game for the club will be on Thursday if he starts, because he
Wow.
started the last two. I think it's 300. It might be more than that. It's either 300 or 400, but I think it's 300. Um, I will find out. And it's like, I love that. We're at the stage where he's getting 300 appearances for us and he's like doing side quests. That's great. That's what I want from my favourite ever player. That's exactly what I
100%
want.
Hearts FC career completion.
Yeah, exactly. I will find out if it's his 300th or not. I will.
I wanted to speak about because there's a chance on 21 minutes where Frankie Kent glances Blair Spittle's corner just wide. I know we've scored a few goals from corners this season. We could chat about one that came in our most recent match, but I think that recent decent set piece delivery is something that we should not be taking for granted. It's
It's
been
weird,
missing
eh?
for a wee while, but I actually feel somewhat optimistic when Hearts get a corner these days. Are you in that same boat?
It's the only thing that we end up doing things from now, it feels. Like I know like the winner that we scored the weekend doesn't come from it, but still, yeah, like by the way, I just checked. It is his 300th game if he
Madness.
starts on Thursday. Yeah, like it is something that we never seem to be all right at set pieces. We never seem to be in a position where it's
No,
like, oh yeah, we might score from this. It's either like
brilliant or
there's a
brutal.
very high chance we're going to score from this, or it'll be 9 games in and we haven't even beaten the first man at a corner, kind of thing,
Once.
like ever. So yeah, it's a novelty. I don't know if we should be that surprised considering a lot of the players we've signed are like dead ball specialists, kind of thing. Like that is their thing. Like mainly Spittle, Danda, and apparently Penrice took a lot of set pieces for
I love
Livingston.
him.
He was one of the like three guys who could hold his head up after Wednesday and just be like, I've been good, lads. Dare
I,
you
I,
worry.
I was going to say that just sums up the season. He can just hold his head up high. And,
Yeah. Him and
oh, wonderful
Spittle.
football.
Spittle being like, since I've been played in the right position, I've been class. Like,
I can't wait to see that pair on Thursday night. That makes it so
oh.
worthwhile. Just them. I might just watch them for the
Yeah,
entire
fuck
90
the game
minutes
as the
and
ninth
watch the
goal
rest of the
flashes
game.
in. It's just like, who cares? Doesn't matter.
Quite a funny moment. A minute later, as Kilmarnock fans actually think that they've taken the lead. Malachi Boateng's clearance is pounced upon by Marley Watkins, but the Welshman fires wide of the mark into the side netting, and then you
I do
hear
remember
the
that.
cheers from the Killie fans, and then obviously Hearts fans giving them stick as a result.
That's my favourite noise in football.
Oh, brilliant.
The way after it's not went in. Like the home
That
fans doing
that's
the
also like
way.
it. It's like the sarcastic cheer as well when you eventually get a decision off the officials. It's
Yeah,
like
it's such a great
you're that
noise.
raging up to like
Yeah.
there's four or five that have gone and you think fuck me we're not actually getting anything here and then they eventually give one and it's way.
It's such a good noise. I love it.
Is a noise that I made was a large no as the ball broke for Cammy Devlin on 26 minutes, who shapes up to shoot from 30 yards. He hits it, it deflects off a Kelly player, and then it narrowly trickles wide of Robbie McCrory's left hand post.
I'm actually
Um,
remembering things about this game because I turned to my
Thanks, mate.
dad and went,
This is sheer description.
apparently the only way he's ever going to score is outside the box deflections. Like that's it. That's all he's ever going to do.
Because it literally that was up my side and it broke. But I'm thinking, no, please don't, please don't, please don't. No, no, no.
Yeah.
Again, it's points where like there's anger that builds up inside of you, and then sometimes it just comes out. Don't take it personally, Cammy, but
I thought you were going
it's
to
gonna happen.
say, I thought that was going to be a segue into the goal. We could be like, and the noise that came out of me was, yay, as Hearts score.
No, because I genuinely didn't even know how to sum it up. I was just like, yeah, a large no.
I
Um,
respect it.
on 37 minutes, a Kelly winger looks to provide for another. Matty Kennedy's corner is played to the edge of the area. Danny Armstrong looks to connect with the set piece, but his low effort is gathered by Craig Gordon relatively easy. But Kelly pass up a great chance 5 minutes before the interval. Matty Kennedy gets the better of Adam Forrester down the flank. He bobs and weaves, crosses for Joe Wright, once on trial at Hearts. but nods over the bar after coming onto the ball and escaping the attention of Kye Rowles. Kye Rowles has been really good recently.
He has
He
been.
was not good in this game, though.
He really struggled with the physicality, which is now just like, I'm like, I just accept that about Kyrolls. I'm like, you're not a physical player.
I saw Gordon Duncan talk about it on the warm-up. Before Kelly played Rangers, and this was after the international break where Scotland had played Portugal, Charlie Mulgrew said that John Souttar marking Cristiano Ronaldo is a different type of afternoon than if he were to mark a Marley Watkins, a Kyle Vassell.
Yeah,
What
totally.
happens for Souttar against Portugal is he's probably one of Scotland's best players on the park. And yet it's arguably his fault that Kelly then scored the winner at Rugby Park
Yeah,
against
totally.
Rangers. So Kye Rowles is obviously an international defender, but nothing can
And he's
compare
clearly
to
really good
Watkins
at
and Vassell.
football, but he just has no physicality about him.
However, just a few minutes later and a few minutes before halftime, Heart and Midlothian would take the lead. Lauren Shankland wins a throw in on the right hand side, right in front of the dugout and the main stand, and just opts to take it quickly, pretty much eliminating any chance of the officials reaching a conclusion as to whose ball it actually was. Kenneth Vargas gets his skates on, scurries down the right hand side, pulls it back to Blair Spittle on the edge of the area, and a lovely first time pass is leathered home by Alan Forrest. The ball kisses off the inside of the post, past Robbie McCrory in a flash. Hearts 1, Killie 0.
It's such a good goal. Vargas actually is kind of overlooked for this because he won the throw-in as well. He like applied pressure to the guy and made it go out, and then Shanklin quickly takes it.
Yeah, he and Shankland kind of caused chaos. I felt like they were going to get in one another's way, but it actually worked out in the end because, as you say, it's like secondary pressure
Yeah.
almost.
Um, the goal is all about Spittle's pass. It's
Oh,
ridiculous. It's so good.
oh,
Forrest's finish is brilliant,
it
but
is.
that pass with Spittle is ridiculous.
Oh,
How many goal contributions is he on now? Because he technically got an assist at the weekend, I know. That
from
five
the
goal
corner, does
contributions
that
in
count?
five. Yeah, surely fuck that counts. He swung in
I
the
mean,
corner.
yeah, yeah.
I'm going to
It
find
should count
out
as a.
right now if it
It
counts. If
I
it
would love to
doesn't,
know if they deem it as a shot on target. Like
if it
as daft as
doesn't,
that
he
sounds,
should
because
sue.
it was curling towards the goal,
It doesn't
but
count as an assist. This is ridiculous.
yeah, yeah,
I'll
I
count
don't
it, Blair. Don't worry.
know.
I've got you.
But
But
yeah,
yeah,
that must be about five in as many matches then,
yeah. If we count that,
by your
it's
logic
five in
then.
as many matches. He's just really good. He's just really good when you play him in an attacking option. I kind of get bored of saying this every week, but what a novelty of playing one of the best attackers in the league in an attacking position.
Oh, it's a good laugh. Um, Kelly would try and respond just before halftime. Corey and Daba heads Danny Armstrong's free kick wide, free header for the fullback, but doesn't punish Hearts on this occasion. And we head into halftime. Daniel McIver, all is rosy in the garden. We're a goal to the good against
We're
Kilmarnock.
ninth.
We're ninth. We're looking up the way, leaving the scrubs in the bottom six in our wake. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah. 5 minutes. 5 minutes, apparently. That's all it takes.
Um, on 50 minutes, Hearts have a great chance to double their lead. Robbie McCrory punches clear. Blair Spittle's corner that we've talked about causes chaos, but Lauren Shanklin gathers, swivels, strikes, but blazes over the bar and can't get his head over the ball. But as you alluded to, the chaos would soon begin on 57 minutes as Kilmarnock equalise. Robbie McCrory's goal kick is headed up in the air by Malachi Boateng, and then Cammy Devlin, and then Cammy Devlin again. Then David Watson decides to header it. The ball's bouncing around. No wonder after four consecutive headers, Danny Armstrong just pokes a leg at it. And that big man again, Kyle Vassell, gets on his bike. Frankie Kent misjudges the bounce of the ball. Eventually, Kent blocks his effort. It's into Matty Kennedy's path, and the former Aberdeen winger smashes home in front of the Kelly fans. It's all square at Tynecastle. It's a goal entirely of our own making. Lovely technique, must be said. I think he knows what he wants to do with it, but Hearts at 6s and 7s, and it's one apiece.
Genuinely, right? What the fuck is Frankie Kent doing? Because there's
Oh.
misjudging a ball.
His night
And,
was summed up by 10 minutes though, when he went down first half.
oh,
Like
yeah, true.
that was pretty much the highlight of his night.
Here's a question for you. What percentage of aerial duels would you say Frankie Kent has won in the league this season? If you think of Frankie Kent, what percent out of
I,
100,
I mean, previously last season you'd have been talking what, high 70s, early 80s.
right?
I would
What do
have
you think
thought.
now?
It's got obviously going to be something mad, otherwise you wouldn't have brought it up.
It's
I'll
just I
go
just
for
saw it. I can tell you what it was last season if you want.
30, 35, 43 or something.
So last season it was 66%.
Wow, I don't think it was as low as that.
And that was in the top 5% of all defenders
I genuinely thought it'd be
in
higher
the
than
league.
that.
This season, he's played a lot less games, obviously, but it's currently, where is it? 61%. So it's 5% lower.
Wow.
But that puts him in the bottom 15% of defenders. Because
What the hell?
generally, this season, centre halves have become really good at winning aerial duels. This is all through FootMob, by the way.
That's Raj.
That doesn't include ground duels, by the way, which is a bit better at 65.7%. Interestingly, the actual amount of aerial duels he's won is 87% of them that he's gone up for. He's won 45 out of 87. No, sorry. He's won 45 out of 60. He's missed out 15. 87%. But if you look at it in terms of the league overall, he's really underperforming compared to other centre halves. And considering that's like Frankie Kent's thing, because Kai Rolls' thing is like playing football, going on mad runs on the left wing against Ammonia and stuff like that.
Just when he's
Kent's
bored.
yeah, Kent's thing is the meat and two veg, old school defending.
Proper centre off.
Yeah, Mr. Brexit type football, right? And it just worried me in that moment where I was like, that sums up this season. It's like
Yeah,
he's
I
misjudging
think
a flight of the ball that much.
I think Sean Dyche has ripped off the poster that he's got on his bedroom wall of Frankie Kent,
Yeah,
don't he?
I mean, fair. But yeah, just so
This was
poor.
probably his worst performance for Hearts. I can't think of a
Probably,
worse one.
probably.
I
Yeah.
I,
The only
I
other
thought
one
it
that I
was
can
really
vaguely
poor,
remember is
uncharacteristically poor because he was a player of the. I mean, if Lawrence Shankland hadn't had the season that he had last year, he'd have got our player of the season.
yeah. The only other one I can think of is St Mirren away last season where he scored that own goal and we got beat. And he was just like out of sorts. But it was like, it doesn't matter because we've had such a good season and it was one game kind of thing. Yeah. And I was like, well, that's bad. And then 5 minutes later, it gets worse.
Cue the Mick McCarthy. Oh, it comes.
Yeah, exactly.
60 minutes, the front two link up. Watkins finds Vassell, who blazes over the bar. That was the warning because on 63 minutes, Kelly were certainly growing in confidence, and it wouldn't be long before they successfully turned the game on its head. David Watson's long throw just causes carnage in the Hearts
Yeah.
box. Joe Wright backheels into Kyle Vassell's path. The big man lets it bounce, tussles with Kai Rolls, sits him down on the spin, smashes home from just a few yards out. And as you say, a few moments of madness sees Hearts go from 1-0 up to 2-1 down.
And that was the thing that I was so angry about, that it was like, right, this is bad. We've had a bad 5 minutes, but it's literally all they've done. We should have confidence in ourselves to be able to go and get at least a goal back and then see what happens. And for 35 minutes, we didn't do anything. It
No,
was
we were terrible.
insane. So bad. And it kind of was I know we then won at the weekend, but it was kind of the game that I was like, right, officially now this season is a write-off. But it's like, to us, bluntly, financially, the difference between 5th and 10th is like nothing. So like, I now don't really give a shit where we finish because I don't think we'll be in the bottom two. I just think you can look at the way the games have been the last couple of weeks and it's like, yeah. Well, I also, for the record, don't think Hibs will be there either. I think both Edinburgh clubs will be out of it.
I I feel confident about us getting out of it. We do still have the Scottish Cup to play for, though.
Oh yeah,
bizarrely.
I mean in
We've
terms
got
of
we've got.
like
Oh no,
the
totally. But
domestic league, it's shit.
I, I still believe that we can finish fourth. I do.
Yeah,
I
I
I,
don't. I
I
think
do.
we can finish fourth.
I think with a couple of bodies we can. What I'm intrigued to see is
Ooh, January's a thing.
how we get on in Europe, because obviously we've made
Because we're
pretty
winning
much
the
the
Conference League.
ideal start. Yeah. And
I'll take finishing 10th and winning the Conference League. I'll say it now. If anybody wants to let that happen,
I'll take 11th and have the thrill of a relegation
I'll.
playoff after it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll take getting relegated if somebody was like, you get to win the Conference League and do it. It's like, yeah, I'll take my 60 million
That'd be
and play Morton. Yeah, thanks.
such a mixed bus parade. As we're plotting
Exactly.
it.
It's like folk with bricks being like, I don't know if I should throw it or not, or I should throw you some wine. A deck
Here
in
we
is
are
one of the two.
parading the Conference League trophy, just met with middle fingers and Rickies and all
Got
that.
got it up in behind bulletproof glass, like kind of thing. Listen, I'd take that. It's
The
fine.
first ever bulletproof bus
Yeah.
bus parade on Princess Street. That would be incredible.
Come on, Chelsea. We'll take. I mean, we're about to get beat 7-0 off Heidenheim, but right now, as we sit here on the 5th of November, I'm ready.
But that's what I was going to say. Like, we could have a continental distraction. It would be fun. It would be great fun. We've still got the biggest cup competition that we can realistically win to play
Yeah.
for as well. Like, I, the Premiership is a write-off. We're not going to finish
Yeah.
top three. That's gone.
I don't even think we're going to finish top four.
I think we can. I do. I don't think anybody else is building up
It's
such a
good.
consistent run. Do you know what I mean? Like Aberdeen, I was talking about this to folk at the game around me. Like even the season where we blew third was only because Aberdeen went on a great run. Otherwise, we'd have
Yeah.
made it. And they literally what? Did they win? 7 games on the bounce?
Yeah. It was like
That
a thing they're never going
we
to do again
once we play
in that
Aberdeen at
context.
Tynecastle, we've got some favourable fixtures coming up over the festive
Yeah.
period. We can use these games to try and build some momentum.
Also,
I also think the manager will then have an idea of, as
yeah,
January approaches, who he wants, who he doesn't fancy, where we can ship players out, where we can sign other players from. I I think we're going to see some movement in more ways than one.
a key component is this podcast has often put a lot of focus on vibes-based approach. And I think we should always remember that. And I just think because this season's kind of a write-off, let's just also just have a laugh and just focus on Europe. All eggs
Eggs
in
in the
that
usual
basket.
basket.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we then did win at the weekend. Maybe I wouldn't be this chuffed if we'd lost or hadn't won.
Yeah. Maybe our kind of outlook of having a laugh would be one of anger, stroke,
Yeah, true. It's like there's
depression,
nothing else here.
stroke,
Let's just do that.
general apathy, disgust, discontent. But thankfully, we don't have to worry about that.
No.
Elsewhere in the Scottish Premiership, there was only three other league matches taking place, one of which came on the Saturday, and it was a thriller as St Mirren and Ross County drew 0-0 in Paisley. Greg Kilty's missed penalty being the highlight. Um, However, the Sunday did get good as Hibernian fell to the bottom of the Premiership table with a last gasp Dundee United equaliser. Fantastic. One of my pals was tempted to put a tenner on Dundee United at 80-1 with Hibs leading 1-0 in 85 minutes. And then as soon as United equalised, he thought, oh my God, if I didn't put this on. But,
Oh,
so it would have been funny to see Hibs totally
yeah.
capitulate, but a cracking bet nonetheless, it would have been. No matter. And elsewhere, United City rivals Dundee came from 2 down to beat Kilmarnock 3-2 at Dens Park. Those two teams have now played 2 matches at Dens Park, both of which have ended 3-2, 10 goals in the 2 occasions, and both of which have seen a side blow a 2-goal lead.
Mad.
Incredible viewing.
Yeah.
And then there was a small matter of the Scottish League Cup semi-final. Celtic blitzed Aberdeen, which was hilarious, fantastic to see. Hopefully that's the start of your bubble bursting. And Motherwell took the lead against Rangers, courtesy of Andy Halliday,
Who was
who
gutted about it.
showed the respect to his
Devastated.
former club. But he wasn't devastated for long as Rangers turned the game on its head. And Philippe Clement's team booked a final meeting with Brendan Rodgers' Celtic. What did you make of all the action, be that in the Scottish Premiership and in the Diddy Cup?
Andy Halliday was just absolutely fucking embarrassing.
Yeah, but how good was that?
Listen,
That was incredible. Like I thought it was embarrassing that he didn't celebrate. I'll be
yeah,
honest, but
because that is the
it
correct reaction to
uh,
have.
it was just funny. It
Oh
was just
yeah, it's funny. It's so
like
Andy Halliday.
uh,
It's so Andy Halliday.
but this is what I mean. Like people are getting in a tizzy over this. If he wasn't that bothered about scoring, he wouldn't have stretched his leg out.
True.
It was such a hard chance to score that he tried
It's a good
everything to get
goal.
something on
Yeah.
it. It's a great finish,
But
considering the circumstances. But then everybody just was like, I mean, if that's what's got your back up, if that's your main gripe,
if I was a
then it says
Motherwell
more about
fan,
you.
I'd be livid. I'd be fucking livid if my memory of of like a League Cup semi-final is my player being annoyed that he scored.
Do you think he's lucky that Rangers then turned it around?
Yes.
Yeah, I think had Motherwell got through, this would be spoken about way more.
Yeah.
But because obviously now the result hasn't panned out the way it's panned out.
Listen, it's been made very clear on this podcast. I'm a big Aidan Keena fan. Did you see his celebration against his former club?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh my! It's the best one ever. Remember Adebayor against Arsenal for Man
Yeah,
City, right?
Man City, yeah.
That's the
And he
level
runs the entire duration of the
right?
pitch and slides in front of them.
I want that from former players, right? But Keena somehow made a. I didn't know this existed, and Keena did it. Aidan Keena scored. I think it was against Sligo, or he's at Sligo now,
Who
and it
does he
was.
play for now?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I can't mind. He either plays for Sligo, and it was the team he used to play for, or he currently plays for a different team, and they were playing Sligo Rovers. But Aidan Keena has at some point in his life played for Sligo Rovers.
He plays for St Pat's, so he
Right.
scored
So
against
it was
Sligo.
so they
Right.
scored against Sligo. He scored, Jake Mulroney got the assist. It's all happening. It's a Hearts duo of wonders
Of
2018.
dreams.
Yeah. He scores and then he runs off doing that. He runs off hands up like I'm not going to celebrate and then goes nah and does a massive knee slide in front of their fans. And it's the best thing. And it was the same weekend of that Halliday thing. And it's like do an Aidan Keena, don't do an Andy Halliday. The Celtic Aberdeen score was hilarious. I thought Celtic would win comfortably. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, so did I. Now, yeah, exactly. It was a case of how many. I had three or four tops to
Yeah,
then see six. It was like
crazy.
fantastic.
Hibs are hilarious. It's obviously a penalty. What is Kukarevich doing? He's just grabbing the guy's jersey completely. It's a penalty. Fuck yes.
We'll come on
And
to another contentious penalty.
yeah, well, I also don't think
You
it's that
don't deem it, you're
contentious.
about the only Hearts fan that doesn't deem it contentious, but carry on.
Well, that's fine. And I won 20 quid on Saturday for 10 to 1, Hearts to
Very
win, and St
nice.
Mirren Ross County to draw.
Very nice. I have to say, as much as I love a punt, I have never touched Hearts. I will never touch Hearts. That is perhaps
Ah, well.
with seeing my dad scarred by touching Hearts and being let down in the past that it's then I just don't.
Ah, fuck it. It was 2 quid. I was like, I'll do this.
And listen, it's paid dividends, so good on you. Um, and you've got Neil Critchley to thank for making three changes to the side that fell to defeat against Kilmarnock at Tynecastle. Jan Danda and Daniel Oyugoke replaced Kenneth Vargas and Adam Forrester, whilst Benny Beningame finally made a return to action in place of Cammy Devlin after, as you said, recovering from a bout of illness. That meant Hearts lined up in a 4-2-3-1 formation as follows. Craig Gordon in goal, back four of Daniel Ugoke, Frankie Kent, Kyrolls and James Stroke Luke Penrice. Benny Beningame and Malachi Boateng in front of the back four, with Alan Forrest and Jan Dand on the flanks. Blair Spittle supporting Lawrence Shankland in attack. What did you make of that?
I was just glad Benny was back. I was just like, oh, good. Benny's back. I'm more confident for today as a result.
I also was pleased to see Kenneth Vargas dropped, I'll be honest.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I didn't think he was that great against Kelly. It's only then when you kind of see the part that he played in the goal, you think, fair enough. But over the piece, I didn't think that he did enough. And everybody knows that's my Fue Vito. Absolutely love the guy. But I he's not lived up to even my expectations this season, which
Yeah, that's
shows you
fair.
that he is suffering from second season syndrome. Um, but listen, he pops up later on, so all's well in the world.
He
Um,
does.
I I'll be honest. I watched the highlights. I'm not overly impressed by the lack of quality on show. From what I gather, most of it seemed as though if anything was going to happen, it would be via a set piece. Now, the winning goal is the exception, of course, because of you know who, my Congolese king. However, the rest of it, for the most part, is largely muck.
I watched the game live and I can sum up my thoughts now. I thought we were largely solid, barring a 20-minute spell at the start of the second half, and I think we deserved to win.
Nice. Okay. If we talk about the goals,
Yep.
Blair Spittle's
This
corner
one's
causes
funny.
carnage, as Robert Borthwick described it on a Hearts TV. After 23 minutes, eventually breaking for Alan Forrest, who sees his effort deflect wide for yet another corner. And from that set piece, the Jambos nip ahead. Blair Spittle sends a wicked ball into the box, and Nicky Clark, just as his father Sandy did for Hearts
That's,
from time to time, heads the men in maroon in front. There's nothing lucky about the delivery, Daniel McIver. But these wee elements of luck, like a daft nick on it from the club captain, these are the types of things that haven't gone for us so
yes.
far this season, really, yet. So I felt as though we needed something like that.
Yeah. And yeah, it is. It's a bit weird because when you see it back, it's like the keeper should just be able to come and claim that. Rolls, I don't think is going to make it.
That's what I was going to ask. It's not very often that you see a goalkeeper substituted at all. It's even
He
rarer
was
to see
hurt.
one substituted at half time. Oh, is that the
He
case?
was hurt. He tore his groin.
Oh, okay. Because I watched it back and thought, if he's hooked him for that, it does seem
Oh,
a bit harsh.
as we were watching the game, it was like he must be hurt because fuck me, that's harsh. Like Jesus, this new boy isn't he messing about. But no,
Simo's seen enough.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, we were deserving of the lead at that point, and I love the fact that Blair Spittle's like, "I'm claiming that. That's mine. Thank you very much."
Albeit Fop Mob haven't agreed with you,
He
Blair,
doesn't
but
even
that's
get a
fine.
fucking assist.
That's fine. These things happen. Um, However, in the second half, let's just talk about it now. St Johnstone are handed the chance to level
They
from the
hit
spot
they hit the bar. They have a shot
through
going narrowly
Jason
wide.
Holt, of all
Gordon makes
people.
Gordon makes an amazing save, and it's like these are the
Yeah, the
things
one
where
from
it's like,
Sidibe.
yeah, these are the
Yeah,
things where
that
you're
was a
like,
good save.
this should be warning signs. Let's change something.
Yeah,
Let's do something. And in fairness, he did. He made a double change, and it was like,
yeah.
right, we need
Devlin
to
for
do something.
Boateng,
Yeah,
Vargas for Danda. Yeah, but Graham Carey's corner is curled in, and there's numerous players on the deck. One, one from both teams. And eventually, as Graham Carey goes over to take the second successive corner, the VAR officials deem Cammy Devlin to have fouled Kyle Cameron, and thus St Johnstone are handed the chance to equalise from the penalty spot. You, Daniel McIver, are not afraid to voice your opinion. It's one of my favourite things about you.
thank you, thank you.
However, you are the only person that I've seen say that this is a penalty kick. Now, I am aware that most of my Twitter is Hearts orientated, Hearts related. There will be a tinge of bias, a tinge of disgust. People who have maroon tinted spectacles and just see through no alternative lens. You aren't of this same ilk.
I'm not.
Is that right?
I also asked my mate who's a Wraith fan, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I can see why that's been given as a penalty," which is my stance in it. Where I'm like, as it happened live, I went, I think Devlin's just rugby tackled somebody in the box. That was my initial thing. Where I was
It's a
like,
bit silly. I don't know what's happening with Cammy at the minute because the Easter Road free kick,
yeah,
now this,
he's
it's
putting
just
himself in position. He's putting
yes.
himself in those positions. I think my stance in it is that what I think happens is that Devlin gets nudged a little bit and goes to go down and then starts to realise, oh, I'm not going to get a foul for this, actually. It's quite soft.
Kyle Cameron does give as good as he gets in the
I don't think he
exchange.
quite gives as good as he gets. He goes, like, as I say, because the big discussion, I think, has been around, like, Cameron initiates the contact first, so therefore it's then, like, more
It's
from
daft.
Devlin,
It's
blah, blah, blah.
daft. You don't need to get involved, but You mean you see this type of altercation happen at every
But
set
seriously,
piece?
I don't think you see what Devlin does specifically at every set piece. I think you see what happens, like, for example, going back to around the grounds, can the Warren O'Hora penalty claim, where there
Yes.
was like a shirt pull for 2 seconds, and then it's like, no, whereas the Kukarevich one is like he's holding on to the shirt, so it means the guy can't move. I think the thing that happens in the Hib shout happens at most set pieces. And I think the initial contact on Devlin happens a lot of set pieces. But then I think Devlin, just in a moment of panic, grabs the guy's legs. Now, my stance on it is if it wasn't given as a penalty, I would understand that. But I also understand that it has been. Like, I think either way, I can be like, I can get that. I think there are refs who would give that, and there are refs who wouldn't give that. At the time, I was like, Devlin's done something stupid there. As it happened in real time, I went, yeah, that's a penalty. And anyway, who gives a shit? It didn't mean anything, so it's fine.
I mean, Nicky Clark does step up, looks to make amends for the Hearts opener, sends
Yeah.
Craig Gordon the wrong way. Craig Gordon is furious at either Cammy
He's
Devlin
so
or the
angry at
concession of the
something.
penalty kick, and he's probably even angrier that he's been beaten from 12
Yeah.
yards. But that's the angriest I've seen Craig Gordon in a while.
Yeah, he's fucking
Um,
raging.
what a piece at McDiarmid Park, and Craig Gordon has screamed the entire city of Perth down. But as you've alluded to there, it wasn't to be level for long. Two of my favourite people on the globe combining. Beni Beningame receives from Cammy Devlin. He drives past three Saints shirts in quick succession like they're not even there. And he stabs towards Kenneth Vargas, the Costa Rican who has lacked composure on various occasions this season, keeps his cool, slots past Josh Ray. St Johnstone 1, Heart of Midlothian 2. Four wins on the spin in Perth, Daniel McIver.
Crazy,
Can you
yeah.
believe it? When in God's name would we have seen this
Yeah,
5, 6 years ago?
it's unbelievable. Aye, Benny and his jets as he just ran past everybody. And I loved it. Listen, it was shared a
And
lot. And
Biscuits knew what to do. Biscuits
yeah,
put on the brake.
he was like, I'm getting into this box. Fuck that. I did see his interview, which is just love. It's like, oh my god,
Oh,
we've got a football player with personality.
I love
Um,
him so much.
and I do just love how he was like, I was shitting myself as the closer I got to the box because I didn't care what I'm doing. And then he was like, I don't know why I didn't pass it to Shankland. I do. But he passes it to Vargas. And listen, a lot of has obviously been made of Benny's run because that is what it is. The fact that Vargas takes a touch and then just
Oh my God.
calmly slots
Thank
it
you.
is
Thank you.
so good.
Hallelujah. Finally.
It's
I,
so
I,
good.
I genuinely, I don't know what I'm more astonished at. Kenneth Vargas keeping his composure there, or the fact that this McDermott monkey is just off our back. We just win it
Yeah,
all the time there now. Like,
it's
what's
crazy.
happened?
It's crazy. But I'm not complaining. I think we were worthy of the win. Ignore that 20 minutes at the start of the second half. I think generally over the piece, 75 minutes, 70 minutes, I thought we were worthy of the win. And now
Well,
we're 3 points off top six.
yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. How bad is this league that
Yeah,
that is only our second league win of the season, and yet we are a win away from top six?
yeah.
You cannot possibly tell me it's achievable. We can make that up. Of course we can.
I just don't think I just don't have it in me to think that we're going to get relegated. I'm like, the 1920 team doesn't win that game at the weekend.
That was genuine crap.
Yeah, I went into
We've
every
got
one of
better
those
players.
games going, we are the worst team in this division. I don't think that. I think we're currently one of the worst teams in the division,
Yeah.
but I'm like, there's 4 or 5 teams as bad as us.
And I also think that we're on a better footing now, whereby we spoke about it with the transfers. We will get a couple bodies in to salvage this, I
Yeah,
think.
we'll be
Like
fine.
again, because we've appointed somebody that's external from the club and has had no affiliation or no say so in Scottish football up to now, it's a fresh set of eyes. And
Yeah.
yeah, Neil Critchley's watched games obviously before taking charge, but it's basically a clean slate. He's going to decide who he wants to keep, who he wants to ship on, who we
Aye.
can bring in, who we can ship out. Fine by me. Absolutely fine by me. Before we preview two massive matches, two gruesome games, two terrifying tests, this past week saw the Foundation of Hearts voting open. Daniel McIver, you can tell us more on this.
Yeah, so the Foundation of the Hearts board election has started now. Voting opened on Monday, I believe. The 4th, everybody, you would have got your emails.
I
So,
was going to say that it was actually pretty sharp, to be
yeah,
fair, and it was a simple process to follow. You could just click on it, and there you are, right on the page right away. Up to 3 choices, bang.
exactly. And we were very grateful to be chatting with James Sloggie, one of the 7 nominees up for it. Now, if you've been listening to this podcast for any period of time, you might recognise James's voice because he joined us a month or 2 ago for Foundation Day, and now he is going for the board election himself. So, pass over to past me and James now. So, yes, as you did just hear from me and Adam, the Foundation of Hearts election is happening now. I was about to say just around the corner, but it is currently ongoing as we sit here and record, and we are delighted to be joined by one of the 7 candidates who have put their name forward for election, James Sloggie, who, if you've listened to the podcast before, you may recognise the voice. You won't recognise the face before because I messed up with the recording, but you can now see his wonderful face this time if you're watching on YouTube. So, delighted to be joined by James again. First of all, massive thank you for coming back on.
No, it's an absolute pleasure, and thanks very much for the compliments. I'm not sure it's a beauty contest, but
Yeah,
we'll take what we can get. But no, it's fantastic to be back on, so thanks very much.
No problem at all. So, yes, as we say, you have been on in the past. You were on for Foundation Day, where we were prefacing all that kind of stuff and informing people what you do within the foundation already, because you are heavily involved with the foundation and have been already, but people might have missed that episode. They might just not have paid attention, stuff like that. So, in case people have missed before, or this is the first time meeting you, could you explain your involvement with the club generally and your involvement for the past wee while with the foundation?
Absolutely. So, I got involved. Well, first of all, I got involved with Hearts back in 2017. So, spent 2 years working with the women's team. So squad manager with them, so built up a lot of connections with. Although it was a volunteer sort of project at the time, built up a lot of contacts within the club at that stage, and then forward on a few years, maybe the fact of moving next door to Gary Halliday,
Yes,
ended up getting involved in the foundation 2 years ago. So I sort of came on initially as part of the marketing team, which I think really sort of undersells what that team actually do, because they, as we'll get into, they do so much, and as part of that we do. So came on as that, and I'd sort of sold to Gaius, and I can come on, and I've got a bit of sort of graphics background. I've worked in sport for 20 years, so I understand the sort of landscape. I've got, at the time I had 1 young son, and now I have 2 young sons. I understand, that kind of concept of family man and coming into the foundation, and really wanted to see if I could support the growth of that through there. So came on, initially started just kind of flying some ideas about, how about this on social media? How about we run that? And I think quickly realized actually how complicated it is to get stuff over the line with the foundation. And that's not a foundation fault. It's the rules and regulations that they're governed by. And, an easy example is we're not allowed to sell anything because it gets VAT complications. Yeah. So, with the things like tribute kit, tribute scarf, these come through as ideas, but are then sold by the club. We couldn't come out and say, chucking a £5 for a chance to win, a coaching day up at Oriam, because we're not allowed to offer that. So it kind of really became really complicated of what we can and can't do. And then things just evolved, ended up becoming sort of the lead on social media and comms, which I'm sure we'll come on to, because there's a lot of challenges around that. We then got involved in plot ceremonies. So I've helped Gary and Alistair Bruce develop those. So very much, I suppose, first of all, the visuals of that, and then took over the kind of audio on the day. So yeah, silly things like instead of our members coming into a silent Gorgie suite, we've got music on now. It just makes it that little bit more special. So yeah, getting some graphics up. We then got everyone's names up on the big screens when they were installed. We've now branched out, and I do drone footage on the day. We've got video footage in the changing rooms, and really just kind of developed those days of how we look. We've got a little word search, a treasure hunt that the kids can do when they come. So essentially it means their parents get the photos of the kids in the key places, and one kid gets a Junior Jambos membership.
Amazing.
But it just brings the family together, and that's what it's all about. And then I think, as we kind of got into that, everything's just snowballed. So I've kind of been involved in a lot of problem-solving stuff around the kind of new IT platform that's come in, some stuff with the Maroon Mile projects. We've done some recordings from that from my experience. We did some drone shots of the new installation at Haymarket once that was finished. So yeah, just loads and loads of things. I've kind of turned into a bit of problem solver and troubleshooter. And I think, I'm maybe in a privileged position that, kind of flexible working. I've got a bit of time through the day to kind of look at these things. So when challenges do arise, I can kind of look at it. But yeah, it's really, I absolutely love it. And I'm so passionate about it, but it has absolutely snowballed into something far bigger than I ever thought.
Totally. And then that snowball has got to the stage where you're going for election within the Foundation of Hearts board itself. So was that a decision based around the fact that you were looking at all these things that you've done going, I can take this even further? Or was it something completely different that you just felt, no, I feel like this is the right time now to put myself forward?
It's probably a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I never got involved with the foundation with the intention of going onto the board. That wasn't a thought. I just wanted to help and wanted to be part of it, if I'm being honest. And I think because of my background in sport, a lot of that's around, events, being squad managers and being lucky enough to travel the world with national teams and, performance academies and things like that. I just wanted to bring some of that experience. And then I think as time has gone on, I've probably realised the challenges that the foundation have. And I think that's been, one of the most prominent things, in that I've been able to look and go, I'm doing all these projects, but this is the barrier to X, or this is the challenge with Y. And then being able to go, well, actually, I have experience of this in a similar context, and I can bring that to the board. And I think the foundation are at a real tipping point. And we kind of spoke off air that the kind of key message of the foundation is still, you're legends, you saved the club, which is true, and that should never be forgotten. But we're at a stage now where we're years down the line from that. We have to remember our history, and we can't be sitting in another 10, 15, 20 years going, you saved your club 40, 50 years ago.
Absolutely.
And there is a point now where the foundation have to look and go, what's the message now? How do we sell the foundation now? How does the foundation be something that develops the club and takes it further and makes it better? And I think, as I say, I think it's a tipping point of, we need to hit that, for want of a phrase, we need to hit the reset button and go, what's next? But given, let's not beat about the bush, given the challenges we've got on the pitch,
totally,
and other things that are floating about in the background, we also need stability, and we need experience to kind of steer, I hate it as a saying, but to steer the ship in the right direction.
Yeah, totally.
And I just think the time came up where I thought, I've got an awful lot to say for myself. I have the experience to drive this forward. I've lived the foundation for 2 years, and now it's time that I feel that I can make a difference and really sort of change that narrative, I suppose, and drive it forwards.
Amazing. And that's obviously myself, Adam, and
the majority of the listeners of this podcast are very much just coming at it from the fans' perspective. So we are completely on the outside, barring our involvement financially with the foundation. It's interesting that you say in your election address, which, by the way, in our description, if you look down just now, will be posted James's full election address for the foundation, so you can read through that at your own leisure, but we will obviously now speak about key points within it. You mentioned there about hitting the reset button, about the different things that are really important for the foundation moving forward, and it comes up a lot on social media. I think we've mentioned it on the podcast before. I think we mentioned it the last time you were on, is about the kind of youth voice of the foundation. Is, I wouldn't say blind spot is maybe too harsh in the foundation, but it's something that is very obvious that there isn't that same level of engagement, understandably, with 25 and under, let's say, because of the age of that demographic weren't there physically like we were when everything was happening at that St Mirren game kind of thing. And it was just, you felt the tension of, if we don't do something now, we don't have a football club. Now, these guys who are the age who I was back then are thinking, well, I've seen us get relegated twice, playing Europe 3 times, getting multiple cup finals, get nearly finished 10th and everything. Like the kind of just trials and tribulations of a normal football fan. They don't have that ever-present feeling of, do we have the trials and tribulations? So you mentioned in your election address specifically about youth panels and all these kind of things. Could you explain more just now about how you would intend to get the youth voice into the foundation?
Absolutely. So I think you've probably teed it up really well, and I think that the youth support is absolutely vital. It's the future of the club, and as we mentioned, we need to be able to go out to those people and say, this isn't about saving your club now. This is about making your club better. It's about going forwards. It's about at least challenging for Europe every year, or getting into Europe every year. And as part of the foundation, you can drive that forward. And I think almost, and I'm saying this as sort of part of the foundation.
Yeah.
I think we have actually, while we talk about it, I think we have lost sight of how we engage with those younger generations.
Yeah.
And I think we have looked at stuff in the past. I think, the junior pledge has been mentioned a lot over the last couple of days. And it's something that comes up at every single plot ceremony. Is there going to be a junior pledge? How can my son, how can my daughter be part of this without me setting them up an account?
Yeah.
I think the junior pledge, I think the initial consultation from it was December 2022.
Right. Okay.
So we're coming up 2 years on that, and it still hasn't been delivered.
Yeah.
And that's something that, one, I'm really passionate that we need to get something out there. I'm also really, my boys are 2 and 7.
Yeah, of course.
And I want them to be part of this. Both of them pledge, but obviously not sort of in their own right or their own platform. So I think we really need to address what we have. And for me, there's that birth to maybe 12, that sort of primary school age, where that's really, it's led by parents or guardians.
Yeah.
We then have that sort of 12 to maybe, it feels like, I work in a school at the moment. It feels like that age is getting younger and younger. But, traditionally you've got that sort of primary school to secondary school, that's sort of 12 to 17, 18, where, there is more of a voice, there's more of an opinion, start doing things on themselves. And then that sort of, I suppose, 18 to 25, as you mentioned before. And I think if we can get something out for that primary school age, whether it's, a junior pledge, some sort of junior initiative, that starts to, fill that void and start the journey. And then I think with to kind of jump a stage, if you go to the 18 to 25s, we have the Gorgie Ultras, and I think that's starting to obviously bring involvement and engagement from there. I think they do a great job of making noise on a Saturday, and I've spoken to some of them, and I know they're absolutely committed to ensuring that continues to be a positive experience, I suppose. So I think we need to start working closer with groups like that. and some of the other fan groups to bring in that. I think the one that most interests me is that sort of 12 to 18, 14, 16, you know, however you want to branch it. And I worked a few years ago on a kind of youth panel project. We've actually done 3 or 4 now off the success of them. But essentially what we looked to do was bring in our I suppose people of that age could apply to be part of the junior panel. They'd apply to it, would go through an interview process. So as well as kind of supporting the projects that we were working on, it was very much about building life skills as well. So that interview process, maybe writing a bit of a CV. We offered support to do that, even though it was coming into our project and things like that. We then went through an interview process on all of them, which one of them we had 120 odd kids apply for.
Wow, okay.
So we did have to kind of narrow it down and break some hearts.
Yeah.
Kind of narrowed that down, and then once we ended up with the project was done before. We've tried to kind of keep a group of sort of 20 to 30, and that's sort of manageable on a volunteer basis. And really, for me, it's about working with that group to establish what they want to get out of their club, or the governing body that I've worked with before, and things like that. And my vision would be bringing them into Tynecastle as a starting point, explaining what the foundation is about, what the club is about, and really giving that. Although we're talking about changing the narrative, is sort of giving that history lesson on why it exists, where it came from, what did your parents do, how significant is that in terms of our club, but then working with them to establish what they want to get from that. And as those ideas come out through that forum, you naturally end up with, if you're working with 25 kids, for example, or young people, you naturally end up with 4 or 5 working groups that want to take different things on, and they might be projects that are directly linked with the club. It might be projects within the community. There's so much scope, and when you consider as a club, we've got the foundation, Big Hearts, community coaching. There's so many opportunities. For me, it's about establishing that kind of network, and then supporting those young people to grow the areas of the club that they want to see. And I think as part of that role, there's always an element for me that the older people within that kind of process become the mentors for the younger. Yeah, and you keep bringing fresh people in each year. As that develops, you keep working through it, you keep on going, and that becomes a long-term ongoing project where young people have a voice. And I think for me, if there's somebody, whether you're at school in Pennycook or Edinburgh or Shetland, if there's somebody within your school that has a voice of the club that you support, that's massive. And I think that's a real platform to share. And I think in a digital world, there's no reason why we would like to have everyone physically in one place. There's no reason why these representatives can't be in Shetland or Spain or Australia. We have to look at this as a global brand, and I think it's something that I've delivered. It's something that I'm really passionate about, and I think it's something that would really drive the foundation forward in terms of that younger, as I say, that 12 to 18-year-old group.
Yeah, totally. And that would be amazing, because it's such a physical way of showing actual progression and development. And you mentioned there, it's very evident that communication and bringing everybody together within the foundation is very much a passion point for you. And listen, we are a podcast that we can see in the data that we have people listening all over the world in multiple different countries. And within your election address, you mentioned regional forums, and I saw that you were asked and posted on your Twitter from someone who is an overseas fan, and how that can be hard for their families in terms of incentivizing is the word to pledge and become really physically involved with the foundation, because it's so far away, and it's even the club itself can be a disconnect if you're in the States or if you're in Spain or if you're in Australia, especially after our big Aussie contingent came in, there was a big thing about how, oh yeah, there's quite a few new Hearts fans that are there, but they're literally half the world away. You mentioned regional forums. What form would they take, and how do you think they would help improve the connection between fans and the foundation?
Yeah. So I think I don't want to kind of jump back, but it's maybe just
totally
worth sort of addressing the communication point first, because it's something that, given that I'm in a comms role, it's something that I get asked about all the time. And often the ask or the question is, nah, I still think the comms isn't great.
Yeah.
And it's never worded as nicely as that.
Yep.
And I think it's worth addressing because it's so challenging. And I think we're at, so as I say, in the last 2 years, our sort of social media interaction has increased almost 15 times over now in that period. So I think in my address, I said, we've taken it from, 1,000 hits a day to 10,000 in the first year. That now in year 2, we're about to pull the stats, which has become more difficult now that, X needs to be paid for and things like that.
Exactly.
But we're starting to look at the stats and we're expecting that that's going to be around 13 to 14,000 hits a day. So I think in terms of our reach, we've done a huge amount of work on that, and it has really progressed. And we have introduced, we've ran a number of competitions through our social media, and we've worked really closely with the club. So a couple of weeks, I think it was at the St Mirren game. They had on their big screens, tag us in a photo, get on the big screen. And we had the opportunity to go with that and say, tag the foundation again. And a young person will get a Junior Jambos membership.
Amazing.
And these are relationships that we're building. So our social media presence has increased and has improved. What I do agree with is that what people want to hear as part of communication probably hasn't improved.
Right.
And I think that's where it becomes incredibly challenging. As a foundation with the links with the club, we have to be incredibly careful about what is going out in the public domain. And I was challenged by someone a couple of days ago, and they said that you've mentioned that we have to be careful what we put in the public domain, but we are owners of the club. I said, it's right, and we're right to ask those questions. And as a fan first, I want to know that as well. But I kind of went back and made the point that anything that we put out, even if it is a members only email, goes straight in the public domain.
100%.
And we're creeping towards 9,000 members now. And there's no way that we can put an email out to 9,000 people and expect it to stay a secret.
100%.
So I think there's a huge challenge around that. But it's a challenge that I really want to address. And I'd also said within that there is almost a disconnect is such a horrible word, and I think it's really hard. But there's a slowing down of communication between our current board and the marketing group, and obviously that marketing group, including myself, put all that communication out. I think that's one of the big things that, if elected onto the board, I want to be able to bridge that gap. And I think I can't remember what club it was brought up. Wimbledon potentially. They put all their minutes from every single meeting on their website.
Oh wow.
Now that has its pros and cons.
Totally.
And you obviously put yourself at risk, but I do think it keeps the members up to date with everything that's going on. And I think it's equally important that as directors, or hopefully directors, we are held to account by our actions as well. So I would that's one of the things I would like to see, is that real growth in communication, by more coming out of what are we discussing, what are we doing. And there will always be stuff that can't come out.
Totally.
There's always stuff that can, and we need to make our members part of that. So I make no apologies for the sort of long answer.
No, that's perfect.
I think it's a really key thing, and it has come up. It's something that the foundation have promised for a long time. And while it is challenging, I see ways around that and to work with it. I think coming back to your question on the regional forums, so I think the regional forums for me are an opportunity for fans to feed back to the foundation without the foundation having to field all the emails for it.
That's fair.
Probably an easier way to say. And what I mean by that, so a couple of weeks ago, we put out some stuff around the upcoming tribute kit.
Yep.
And gave everyone the opportunity to check their name on it, check that things were right. Now, there's a number of challenges around that which have come up. Names missing off tops, huge blocks of names missing off tops, right. Capital letters where they shouldn't be, where they should be. So actually, we were away on holiday, October break with the kids, and I spent the first 3 nights of my holiday, admittedly with a beer, but spent the first 3 nights of my holiday sifting through over 400 emails to deal with that. So that's the scale of, when we ask for it, that's the scale of communication that we get. And that's brilliant. That's
of
how
course.
it should be. But how do we deal with that and make sure that we cover all bases? So the regional hubs essentially would be a member of our support within different regions that act as a point of contact for other members within that area. And that might be somebody that is already part of a fans club. So I've had a bit of a chat with Border Hearts, for example, about this. And there's someone there that's kind of already, kind of acting in that role and sort of feeding back to me on views. We've had discussion with another couple of supporters clubs as well that you kind of see that as a real advantage. Obviously, when we've got away buses going to places, you've got a group of people all in one place that want an opinion. So the idea would be that, it would probably again be on an application process. Somebody within each region would be that point of contact. They would have a Foundation of Hearts email address. There would obviously have to be rules and guidance on how that person was interacted with and how they responded. They would give them an opportunity to feed back to the members. So they would obviously have information of stuff that was going on as well. They'd be able to go back to members and say, thank you for your email. This is where the foundation are at with this or with that. But they would also then be able to come back to a point of contact with the foundation, whether that be, probably on a monthly basis, and go, here's a snapshot of the emails we've had this month. And then as a group, we can then address those, whether it be by a members update email, kickback, social media. We've mentioned it already in a digital world. There's so many ways to do that. I think you've obviously mentioned fans being abroad, and I think something like that gives a real opportunity to build something around, I suppose, around those individuals as a community. I've been in kind of close discussion with a fundraising consultant who's based out in Australia. Massive Hearts fan, grew up in Scotland, went over there traveling and never came back. So been in touch with them, and I've spoken about a lot of these projects and how they would work. And it's a really quick example of, they have already gone, this is a brilliant way to engage fans abroad, and I would be happy to be a representative of that in Australia. And I think what it allows is, if it's across Scotland or the UK, as one thing, it puts these hubs in place. But I think if we can reach out farther afield, or I think as the foundation we're calling faraway fans at the moment, it allows us to tailor those communications for the cultural differences, the time differences within those countries. And I think at one point the Hearts had a Japanese website, or
we did. Yep, I remember that.
Based on, you've mentioned obviously our Aussie contingent. So it has been something that has been done in the past, but I think this just allows that opportunity for the foundation to reach out and almost put a flag in these different countries.
100%, and that is amazing, because I know that we get messages from people being like, "Oh, podcasts help us feel closer to the club and stuff like all these wee things." So if the foundation itself can make that connection and be that bridge, it's amazing. And within that further communication aspect, you mentioned in your address about a members panel where you'd be directly kind of interacting with people about Foundation of Hearts proposals. And I've seen a lot of positivity in regards to that specific point. I just wanted to ask more on that and what you think the biggest benefit of that would be.
So I think this is an idea that's been batting about for a while and just never got going. Mm-hmm. And myself and Gary actually got talking, or Gary got talking to me about it. And I said to him, I was like, wait a minute, this is something I've done before. Let's explore this. What can we do with it? And it's a little bit, I suppose we've spoken about this at members hubs.
Yeah.
I guess it's the opposite from that, in that instead of the fans coming to us, it's us going to the fans.
Yeah.
And we have started off with a couple of surveys and things like that. And I always find that, you send a survey out and you get really mixed, I suppose, levels of engagement.
Yeah.
And you see by the responses are, it's either a tick, 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 any other thoughts, no, send. Yeah. Or you get the complete opposite end where, we get the most brilliant and out there ideas that are really, really hard to action. And I think what it would allow us to do is take some of those ideas and put them out to a group. So essentially our initial discussion around it, and this is something that if elected, I want to move on quite quickly. So this does need to develop quickly, but our initial idea, again, it would be application process. We want to make these things as transparent as possible.
Yep.
But as part of that, we also want to go out and say, this is the remit. Like you would if you were applying for a job. This is the remit. You need to have IT skills. You need to, we want to establish that we have the right people in these roles.
Yeah.
Those applications would come in. We would then pick those people. But the initial discussion has been that those individuals wouldn't actually be made public who they were. So we'd be looking at, some sort of non-disclosure policy. But those people, whether it's, we have said, could we get 200 people? So a huge cross section of our fans, and anything that was coming through the foundation that we wanted to get a kind of fans view on as an initial point of contact, we can go out to those people. So, right, you guys are getting first sight of this. You can't tell anyone else about it, but feedback, tell us what you think. And I think one of the big things that's sort of on everyone's mind at the moment is the tribute kit. Yeah. And for me, the tribute kit has been going on for a long time. It was actually confirmed before I came on board.
Yeah.
So I've actually just been involved in the kind of the process of now getting it to print, I guess.
Yeah.
But that for me is the perfect example of where, we can go out and say, right, guys, what do you think of this idea? What do you think of this design? Do you have any ideas? Feedback to us. Yeah. And then from that, we're in the best position to then send that out to sort of public consultation.
Totally.
Based on we already have those views. Now, there's lots of other areas where we can obviously use that. I'm not going to sit here and suggest that we could go out to them and say, should we sack the manager? Yeah. And I think that, again, the last couple of days, fan owned, not fan ran has come up. And it's a statement that I really hate it. I really do. And I'm so honest about that all the time. And I almost, as a fan and a pledger, I almost find it disrespectful.
Okay.
And I know that I'm not going to run the club. I know that, but I want to say, I want to be able to say, this is what I think about it. And even if that's not going to change anything, I want to have that platform to view that. And I think these are the areas that we're starting to work in now, is that if we can get these, or if I can come in and get these things set up, it starts to provide those opportunities.
Yeah.
And there's no reason why that, point of contact has to be, 40 years old, or, there's no reason why that can't be an 18-year-old that has an impact within their community. I think, as I said, it just really opens up that communications channel and could make a really positive difference to how our members feel.
100%. And listen, it's very clear to see that you're so passionate about it, which is a big thing. Seeing kind of the general reaction, it feels that people like us who are on the outside just want people who are passionate and want people who really want to progress the foundation, which it is evident that you do want to do that. Before we let you go, is there anything that I've not asked you about that you wanted to raise? Is there anything that you feel is really important to reiterate? The floor is yours.
I think everyone's probably heard enough of my voice already.
Don't know. No, this is actually the reveal that you're the new permanent host of Perth to Paisley with me and Adam. That's what this is.
We obviously spoke offline that regardless of what happens through this process, I want to make sure that there's more information coming out there.
Yes.
So I hope there will be an opportunity for my voice and my accent to annoy more people on the podcast over the coming months.
Exactly.
No, I think that I think it's a really interesting time. We've touched on it before, and I think that the foundation does need to hit that reset button. It does need a change of approach. It needs a change of focus, and it needs to move forward. But it is a very critical time, and we need stability within that. And as part of that, I actually think this is one of the most important elections that the foundation have had. Because it could be the real difference of, it could be sink or swim, I think, on where we're at the moment. I think what my view is that anybody that comes into the board just now, they have to have those contacts around the club. Yeah. And as you've been talking there, I think about, I work closely with the comms team at Tynecastle almost every single day. Yeah. So Kat McCallum, Misha Swan, Rob Borthwick. So these guys that lots of people, kind of see as Hearts TV and things like that. But we also have close connections with hospitality, with Greg Veach and the coaching team. Obviously we've had a big push recently where we've worked with the sponsorship team for getting all our content on the big screens. Foundation Day was the first day that we had the foundation content across all the LED boards, all the new screens in Tynecastle. There was a moment in the St Mirren game, all the foundation logos came up on every single screen. And I kind of went, I did that. That's me. And it was amazing. A very, very proud moment. I'm that guy that sits next to the family at games, and the Hearts song comes on. I've still got a wee tear in my eye. I'm so proud to be there with my family. So these things hit hard. But no, I think that anyone that comes in has to be able to be, they have to be passionate. They have to be sitting going, I have genuine ideas that, or I have established that these are the challenges and these are how I'm going to fix them. I do genuinely believe that anyone making the step up to the foundation board should have served some time with the foundation. And I'm not just saying that because I have. If I wasn't running, I would still be looking for, who has served time with the foundation, who's seen it from the inside, who understands it, and who can really drive that forward. I think it's really important that whoever comes into these roles now have those contacts around the club, have the experience in a sporting environment and the context of the foundation, know what the foundation is all about and have seen it and have served that time. They have that experience. But I think as much as anything else, I would really encourage everybody to go out and read those addresses again. Decide who those people are that have those contacts, that have those experience, that can really take this out and grow our community. And don't waste your vote. And by that, I don't mean, vote for who you think is best to represent you, but don't sit on it. Vote. Don't let the time expire. Get your votes in and make sure they count.
Perfect. Well, listen, as we say, all of James's stuff is in our description. You will have got your email about voting. You get 3 votes. As James says, make them actually count, because there will be plenty of people who are really passionate and have a lot of opinions about stuff, then will forget to vote or just won't vote, and then we'll still be as annoyed about everything that's going on. This is actually a way that you can use your voice to be heard. James, wish you all the luck in the world. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
No, thank you very much, and appreciate your support. It's been a joy as always, and hopefully this will be the second of many.
Yes, definitely. So thank you
Perfect.
so much.
Great to hear from past Daniel McIver and James there. Um, sorry, ahead of obviously the Foundation of Hearts
I
elections
like
taking
past me
place.
better than current me.
Good luck to all those involved. And good luck is what Hearts will need this
Very
week.
true. Nice. Well done.
Two massive matches taking place. Our European campaign continues. Hearts welcoming FC Heidenheim to Tynecastle on Thursday night. Both teams 2 from 2 in the Europa Conference League so far, as the Germans have beaten Olympia Ljubljana at home 2-1 and also won 1-0 in Paphos. In Cyprus against Paphos, I should say. They started the season on fire, but are currently sat 12th in the Bundesliga, played 9, won 3, drawn 1, lost 5, scored 12, conceded 12, goal difference is 0. They're an average Bundesliga team, Daniel McIver, but let's be honest, that should still be enough to beat what are, at the current time of recording, an average stroke poor Scottish Premiership team.
I don't actually know how how you say his surname. Is it Vanner or Wanner? Paul.
See, I thought the German
I think it's V. I think it's
Yes.
Paul Vanner, right?
Okay.
He's better than our entire team and he's 18. So we're going to get beat at least 5 or 6-0. Especially because I'm going to this year. First European game I'll get to see, and I'm in person
Right.
for it. Been moved out my season ticket seat again, as happens
Have you
every single
actually?
season. As happens every single season in the Conference League, because my single row gets cornered off for TV, and it is infuriating. So I'm in a different section. But yeah, I'll be there. We'll get scudded, but it'll be a laugh. Because it is the most free hit of free hits ever.
I'll be there. We will get scudded. And yes, you are right. It will be
Yeah.
the free hit of all free hits. Something which is less of a free hit is we head to, how am I best putting this? One of our happier hunting ground. No, it's
No,
really
it's not.
We take on
Shut
Rangers
up.
at Ibrox on Sunday. We play in midweek. They take on Olympiacos in Greece on Thursday night. Is there a possibility, an opportunity to walk away from Glasgow with 3 points against an average Rangers?
Not 3, but 1.
Okay, that's usually one more than you give us.
For
so that's
no
good.
reason at all, I think we're going to get battered. But there's a part of me that's like 1-1. I think might just get a 1-1 draw.
Don't mind it. Don't
I'd
mind
take.
that.
Of course, you wouldn't mind it. Of course, you would not mind a point at Ibrox. But just for a laugh, or we are going to be the one dominant win Kilmarnock gets before he gets sacked.
That's probably more likely given our track record.
But fuck it,
nothing
1-1.
to fear. Honestly,
It kind of is a free hit in terms of like no one's expecting anything of us.
No,
They're under pressure.
There's no expectation, but we can win that game.
Yeah, fuck it. We beat Celtic at Parkhead last season.
You went toe-to-toe at Tynecastle with them under the previous manager.
And everyone thought that meant we were going to be good. But actually, it just turns out we're both shit.
So, there you go. Just be less shit than them.
Yeah,
Simple.
exactly.
What we're thinking, points-wise. I won't ask for score predictions because it's impossible.
No, 6-0 Heidenheim, 1-1 Rangers.
that is the duo of results that you could
or see. 1-1 Heidenheim, 6-0 Rangers. So we just get absolutely bad.
I think that's more likely.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, what will I go? Yeah, 1 each Heidenheim I like, and 2-0 Rangers.
You are insane. We are going to get battered of Heidenheim. What do you mean we're getting a point?
Yeah.
You are mad.
I don't know. No, who am I kidding? It's an 8-0 aggregate over both. But
yeah,
it's a laugh. The end is near quiz. I'm aware that this episode is long.
Yeah, this is a long episode, folks, with the interview. Apologies. But in fairness, we've got an interview. We've got 2 games to preview. Loads of shit.
It's all happening. And listen, you can skip through some of this. If you fancy just tuning in for the quiz, then that's fine.
If you just want to hear me speaking about a penalty decision that's controversial, do that and then fuck off.
Exactly.
It's fine.
Or if you want to focus on why Hearts shouldn't sign Kyle Vassell, and I'm adamant they
should, exactly.
Then you can listen to that. So all's well. Ends near quiz.
This is going to be the worst quiz ever.
1, 2, 3 multiple choices. Well, 2.
Oh, that means they're shite.
I'll give you maybe 3. True or false, and of course, who am I? We start with the true or false. Daniel McIver.
Great.
But it's an easy one. Or is it? Nicky Clark and Sandy Clark are the first father and son duo to score for Hearts.
Wait a minute. Is that actually Sandy Clark's son?
Yeah.
I thought folk were just having a laugh.
No. Of course it's... Yeah. Do you not know that?
False. No, I don't pay attention in it. I'm going to say false. Because I think you might use the technicality here on me.
It's false. I lifted it straight off Twitter. There was loads of people that came back being like, no, the Bowmans, the Kirks, the Blacks, the Collins.
The Kirks were who I thought you were going to say.
So there you go. But I don't think Mackenzie Kirk, I mean, he didn't score competitively for us, did he?
No, I thought the technicality was going to be that he scored for the B team.
No, there you go. I actually did text Sandy Clark because it was his birthday the other day and he got back to me, which was nice.
I legitimately thought everyone was having a laugh.
No,
that folk was saying that. I had no idea about that. Never have known that. Why have we never fucking signed Nicky Clark when he was good? Why didn't we do that?
We should have taken him from Queen of the South instead of bloody Rangers.
Shocking.
Question number 2. Neil Critchley missed out on the chance to be the first Hearts manager to win his opening 2 Scottish Premiership matches at Tynecastle since Robbie Neilson in August 2015. After the memorable 7-goal thriller against St Johnstone, who was Robbie's second match in charge against? Was it A?
I know.
Motherwell?
I don't need
B,
the options.
Okay.
Hibs.
Oh,
was it not? Did we play a cup game?
Partick Thistle. C. Ross County. Or D. Dundee.
So this is
Scottish Premiership matches, remember, Mr. McIver.
Oh, fuck, I'm thinking that first season. So we played St Johnstone 4-3, Juan, my double.
Yeah.
I remember that game.
Who was the second against?
Fuck, who was the second against? I'm going to say we're even in the league at the same time. I don't know, but something about Partick Thistle's just jumped out to me. So Partick Thistle.
They were in the league at the time,
but it
wasn't the Harry Rags. It was Motherwell. 2-0 victory, I believe.
Wow. Yeah, totally. My brain just went.
Penalty, am I right in saying?
Oh, God, that was that game. Yeah, I remember that game now. I don't remember the Killy highlights, but I remember that game.
Maybe need to go back and check that. But yeah, Motherwell was the answer. So you're 1 from 2. That's all right.
I thought the season before. I was like, what an easy question. Sam Nicholson nutmegs some cunt, and he fucking rifles it after Brabant scores a pen. But no.
Question number 3. We spoke about it. Derek McInnes was winless in 8 trips to Tynecastle since guiding Aberdeen to a 2-1 win over Hearts in May 2017. But how many of those 8 had the Kilmarnock manager drawn before leading Kelly to victory last midweek? Was it A, 1, B, 2, C, 3, D, 4? There you go.
I thought the question was going to be, who scored the winner? So what you were about to say, I was just going to shout the words Niall McGinn, regardless of what you were going to say. But was it actually? See if it fucking was. And I get this wrong, but I guess
Igor Rossi not playing at left back that day?
Maybe he played there sometimes. I miss Igor Rossi. I'll be honest, can't remember what the question was, so I'm going to say B2.
It's D4.
Fuck.
So his record's bad, but it's not that bad. I'm really desperate to know now.
And if it's Niall McGinn and you didn't go with this question. Who is it?
Oh, God, I've got my timings well off. Oh dear. Yeah,
you fuck this.
It was...
was Rossi still playing for us in 17-18?
No, he wasn't. It was A. O'Connor, whoever he is. Anthony O'Connor.
Oh, defender. The famous.
Yeah. The famous against the famous.
Yeah.
Right. 1 from 3. Question number 4. Hearts have now won their last 4 league visits to Perth, beating St Johnstone on every occasion. But who was the last team that the Jambos recorded 4 consecutive top flight away victories against? Was it A, Partick Thistle, B, Falkirk, C, Hamilton Accies, or D, Dunfermline Athletic?
I think it's Dunfermline.
Okay.
I'm going Dunfermline.
It is Dunfermline.
I heard Laurie say it in the commentary.
Oh, you bastard.
Yes.
God's sake, Laurie.
Come on.
It is against the Pars from 2006 to 2012. That's wild.
The whole time you were saying that was my brain just going, just say
Oh,
Dunfermline. Just
did
say
he actually
Dunfermline.
say that? The commentary. You
Yeah.
fucker, Laurie.
As you were going through the options, I was like, shit, he's not saying Dunfermline. I've misheard this stat. But no.
Oh no, lifted that straight from the BBC. Thanks for coming.
Yes, Laurie.
You've done all right there. 2 from
I'll
4.
take 2 out of 4. Considering I don't remember what one of the questions was, I'll take 2 from 4.
Ahead of the Who Am I? Ready for it?
Oh, here we go.
I was born on Boxing Day, but it was in another festive Edinburgh derby that I made my biggest contribution for Hearts. I joined the Jambos after one of the most prolific seasons of my career, but I admitted that joining the club in the first place was a mistake, as I later rejoined the club that I signed for HMFC from. I reached 3 major cup finals in Scottish football, losing all 3 of them, with my only honours in the lower leagues. I'm from a footballing family, as my dad was a player, as was my brother, who was successful both north and south of the border. Who am I?
The name that has immediately popped into my head is John Sutton.
Right?
Because my logic is, no, that derby was... Oh, no, it was. That derby where Rudy scores like... that he gets the assist for, and it sounds like a cannon. Because there's those guys dressed like stormtroopers and Boba Fett.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of my pals, one of my schoolmates, is literally right next to them. So
Amazing.
the fact that it was brought up on a view from the terrace the other week, I'm like, oh,
yeah, exactly.
There's wee Cammy.
Exactly. That's reminded me.
13. I don't even think he was with his dad. Literally a 13-year-old kid next to these stormtroopers
Amazing.
in the Eastern Road.
I think Sutton came to us from Motherwell, and I think we then sold him back to Motherwell, and he wasn't very good at us. Would Sutton have said it was a mistake? Maybe, because he was on such ridiculous form, and he came to the graveyard where good strikers die that is Heart of Midlothian.
As soon as he pulled on that maroon shirt, baby, that was him.
I saw a thing about Connor Salmon, that it was like his anniversary, and he scored all these goals, and it was like Hearts 4. Or something like that, or 2. It was something ridiculous.
I think it was 2. I think it was Burker, Cara, and Inverness.
Yeah, I can't even remember. I can only remember the Burker Cara one. Right, I need to narrow this down to see if it is Sutton. Okay. Can you list the clubs he played for? Did he win a cup though? Sutton might have won a cup. Can you list the clubs in order that he played for, please?
I'm glad that you saved that.
I was there. I saw your eyes light up. It was like I can get him.
Right, you ready?
Yeah.
Tottenham Hotspur, Carlisle United, Swindon Town, Raith Rovers, Millwall, Dundee on loan, St Mirren, Wycombe Wanderers, Motherwell, Hearts, Central Coast Mariners on loan, Motherwell, St Johnstone, St Mirren, Greenock Morton.
See, this is the problem that I have when I ask this question. I know nothing about general Scottish football. So some folk might be going, yeah, that's John Sutton, because he's played for all those Scottish teams. I don't know. When I think of John Sutton, I think of him playing in that mad game against Hibs for Motherwell and the derby against Hibs at Easter Road. I only know that he played for Motherwell and us, right? Do I narrow it down? Because there's all the ball, like, I don't give a fuck about his family. I know that could just be a red herring about, like, lol, it's Chris Sutton's son when he isn't. And stuff like that. I don't care about that. That won't help me in any way. I don't know if he's won trophies. What is the other question? He's clearly Scottish. Was John Sutton Scottish? Or was he English? Right, we're getting rid of nationality. I don't even care what fucking nationality John Sutton is. If I do say John Sutton, I don't know if he's English or Scottish. That doesn't help me at all. I don't know what I'm going to say as my other question, so I'm just going to say my guess is John Sutton.
You're happy to go with John Sutton then?
Yeah. Final answer, John Sutton. Is that his name? My brain's suddenly being like, is that the guy that got the assist for everything? It's Sutton. That Sutton is who I mean.
You abandoned your second question.
I did.
And you were right to do so. It is John Sutton.
Is this because of that clip of McGlynn where he said that
Yes,
Romanoff
it
told him he drop him?
That is sensational. Can I just say I was like, that's it, done. John Sutton is 100% who I am this
I'm
week.
chuffed that I got that without any questions,
That was
technically.
good.
I'm chuffed with that.
Well,
I got it before because I went, I think it's John Sutton.
You had to have that clarification.
Yeah, but fuck off, right? I got that.
I mean, you didn't even know that he was English, so there is
Yeah,
that.
is he English? I knew he was either Scottish or English.
He was born in Norwich. That's
All
his
right,
Chris.
fair enough.
But yes, their dad played. Do you want me to run through the clues? I'm aware that we've got obviously a lot of time.
Who is his dad? Who did his dad play for? I'm assuming it's not Chris Sutton.
No, Chris is his brother.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, who did their
Mike
dad play
is
for?
their dad.
Yeah.
And he played for Norwich, Chester, and Carlisle.
Fair play. Well,
so yeah, there you go. In terms of honours, obviously lost 2 cup finals with Motherwell, lost the other with us, the League Cup final in 2013 to his former club St Mirren, where he was just prolific and also won trophies. Won the First Division 2005-06, Championship 2017-18, Challenge Cup 2005-06, was runner-up in 2016-17, and the Renfrewshire Cup, what an honour, 2006-07 winner. So there you go.
Perfect. Well, in honour of our longest episode ever, statistically, one of the longest players we've ever had, because he was very tall. That's the quality you're getting right now, right? He did run like that. He did. See, you're missing out if you're just listening, because you just had a wonderful John Sutton running impersonation that you need to go and see if you've been listening. But if you have been listening, we do hope you enjoy, even though Adam's just insulted you. If you do enjoy this, please leave a review on your podcast platform of choice. It massively helps us out. If you've been watching the impression and everything else on YouTube, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Perth to Paisley on all the socials, perthtopaisley@gmail.com. Adam, where can they get you on all the socials?
You can find me on all the socials watching the highlights of Hearts' 3-1 win at Easter Road in January 2012 at Adam T. Kendall. What about yourself?
More Ryan McGowan 2-yard screamers, by the way.
Yes.
That's another one of the games where you can see Webster just be livid that he stole it from him. And it doesn't matter because Andy Webster pops back up again.
Exactly. Then he gets on the score sheet anyway with a lovely caressed finish at the bottom corner.
Loving it with the Stormtroopers.
Can I just say, there's a YouTube video as well of some numpty Hibs fan that records the Hearts fans behind the goal for Gowser's goal. And you hear the, because obviously it's saved and stopped in the line. And Gowser heads in and then you just do the,
Amazing. I didn't even know that. I'll be seeking that out.
Get on that on YouTube. It'll be something
great. Well, we'll be back next week to discuss Europe, Rangers, preview all the other shit that we've got on. Let's see if the world's ended in regards to Hearts have lost the game, so are now back bottom of the league and everybody thinks we're fucked. But we'll see what happens and everything else. Until next time. Bye-bye.